Are you leading the largest company you've ever run? Are you somewhere between 50 and 100 people? If you are, then I guess you're in the process of making the 5 mistakes that I most often see founders make. When I'm talking to founders and CEOs of rapidly scaling businesses on this trajectory between 50 and 100, I'm listening out 5 bottlenecks that get in the way, 5 things that kill momentum. They think it's unique to them. I know it isn't because I help people solve these problems every day. I know how to solve these problems. Let me tell you what they are. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and many people think the thing to do is to work on your weaknesses. Come home from school with your report card and you've got some A's, B's, C's and D's. Typically what happens is mum and dad jump on you and you go, why have you got the C's and D's? That's what we need to fix. We need to make them better. That might be fine at school if you're helping mum and dad, but if you're trying to scale a business, you need to play to your strengths. You need to be great at the things that you're great at, and you need to create a team that backfill you who are great at the things that you're not great at. Like if you could just be average at something, that's not going to move the needle in your business. But if you could be world class and then hire a team of other people who are world class at other things, now we've got a team. That's the difference between the teams at the top of the Premiership who win the Champions League and teams who are in Division 2 and Division 3. They have star players who are amazing. You're building a world class business. You need world class players who are specialists. What is it that you as the founder CEO are going to be amazing at? And let's work on building the team. If we haven't met before, I'm Dominic Monkhouse. I scaled a couple of tech firms in the UK from 0 to £30 million in 5 years. And now I'm on a mission to help 2,000 British companies scale to 250 employees. And look, if you're a founder CEO and you're on this scale-up journey from 50 to 250, links are in the bio. If you think you've got some problems that you decided we might be able to help with, love to see if we can help you. I'm going to talk to you about those 5 things and what we can do to help you unstick them. The first one is clarity of vision. Can you take your strategy and sum it up in a single word or phrase? Every decision that we get made goes through that lens, has that context attached to it. The next one is skills. The gap between the skills of yesterday, the technical skills that your team have had that have got you here, and the skills that they need to have to get you to the next phase of your journey. Number 3 is delegation failure. This is on you, but it could be also on the team. If you're a leader, whether you're the founder CEO or whether you're one of your direct reports, your job as a leader is to make yourself redundant. Number 4 is micromanagement. Micromanagement is you're hanging on to the work because you don't want to give it away. Where are you just good enough still? And that's slowing you down where you need to be world class and have a specialist tool. The 5th one is self-awareness. Do you know where you're causing the problems in your team? Are you aware of where you're slowing down the growth of the organization? What's your mindset? I was speaking to a founder this week who said, do you know what? Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. I think the data suggests otherwise. All 5 elements of these bottlenecks are interconnected. And that's what we're going to dig into now with this framework. So stick through to the end. All of these 5 things interlock, and I think the whole thing is more powerful if you view it as a whole. Okay, I would like you to tell me your strategy in one word. Nobody can ever do that. It's not a thing that we just can do. And it's not a thing that can happen unless we put some time and effort into it. Eisenhower said, no plan survives contact with the enemy. And Winston Churchill said, look, I would write you a shorter letter if I had time. And so we've got to start with a plan. And then over time, we've got to put some effort into narrowing that down so that we can describe our strategy in one word. Then we can use that one word strategy or phrase as a context, as a lens to help us make decisions and move fast. Not just you, the founder CEO, but your leadership team through all the organization. So everybody in the organization knows this is what we're trying to achieve and this is how we're going to go and get there. Let me give you an example from one of our clients, Smart Sourcing. So they're based in Cebu in the Philippines. They're the number 1 outsourcer or offshorer of work for financial services and real estate agents in Australia. They've got about 1,000 employees at the moment, and they have a one-word strategy: people. And that's it. If you went to the offices of Smart Sourcing in Cebu, you'd love it. You would happily work there. There's a barista. They feed their staff in the mornings. They also feed them lunch. They've got fantastic breakout space. They have an amazing gym. Their economic engine is driven by the fact that they have a very high net promoter score. So their customers love them. And on a scale of 1 to 10, they get a large proportion of their clients would give them a 9 or a 10 on the net promoter score, where the question is, would you recommend Smart Sourcing to a friend or colleague? In fact, they only have one salesperson, which is he has a quick call with people. And because these partners come referred by trusted colleagues, the sales process is very quick. They also have brand promise, which is we guarantee the success of your outsourcing and you won't pay until you see value. The next bottleneck I see is skills. I have a three-legged trust model that I use. Care. Do I care? Does it appear that my colleagues care? Integrity. Do they have integrity? And then their third one is competence. Do I believe they have the skills to do the job? Are they developing the skills that they need? Have they had any management training? Are the leaders capable of taking your strategy, helping you develop a strategy, and then taking your strategy and implementing it? I was speaking to somebody the other day and I said, how many of your leadership team would you enthusiastically rehire? And he said, most of them. And so I said, okay, talk to me about the ones that you wouldn't enthusiastically rehire. It's there at the back of your mind. It's a nagging doubt that your team aren't the right people. But look, let's give them the tools. Let's give them the chance. Let's make sure that we do everything we can to develop your team as it is. Sometimes the teams go all the way through. Sometimes they don't. Unless we're honest with ourselves and we're honest about the quality of our team, we can't put a plan in place to build a leadership team that we need to take us on to the next phase of growth. Look, number 3 is delegation. You're sitting there and you're thinking, I really should have this piece of work done by somebody else. But by the time I explain to them what they need to do and I show them how to do it, and then I loop back in several times to make sure that they've done the right thing, and then it's still not right because I know it's not going to be right because I've given them work before and it wasn't right, I may as well just do it myself. I don't think that's an accurate description of delegation. I think delegation is finding something that you shouldn't be doing and finding somebody who's amazing at it or world class at it. Now, I read a book recently which was How to Win the Premier League by one of the statisticians at Liverpool Football Club. One of the things he talks about is Liverpool going into the market to find midfield players and attract talent. They'll get the group together and they'll say, okay, we need a new midfielder. What skills should they have? And they should say, well, they should be able to pass and they should be able to tackle and they should be able to read the game, and maybe they need to be an amazing throw-in specialist or free kick specialist. And that generates a short list of 95 players in Europe, and they go hire one and they put them in the team and it makes no difference. And what he's realized by looking through the data is you pick one skill. You say, right, we need a free kick specialist. Who are the 5 best free kick specialists in Europe? You go find one, you hire one, you transfer them in, you buy them in the marketplace, you put them in the team. Now the team has a world-class free kick specialist. And so that's what you need to be able to do with your leadership team. You need to be able to delegate, and you need people who are better at you than the things that you're currently spending your time on, because you need your time to spend on other things. The number one job of a leader or a manager is to make themselves redundant. And you can only do that by developing the capability in your team. 4th one is micromanaging. And look, this can feel a bit like failure to delegate. I see failure to delegate as not wanting to push down, whereas micromanaging I see as hoarding, as keeping. Sometimes it's a lack of trust. Sometimes it's a obsession about quality. There are some of the founder CEOs have tenacity, and that makes it harder for them to let go. They are founder CEOs often who've been software developers, lawyers, but you would never end up working as a lawyer if detail was something you couldn't get your head around or get joy from. If from a micromanagement perspective, it's I am better than my team and so I need to keep doing the work. Unless you can find a structure or framework that breaks that down over time and allows the team to develop, then you're going to be there forever. Managing your own diary, where's the value in that? That's not a point of leverage. Booking your own meetings, that's not a point of leverage. Allow the team to get clear on what they're trying to deliver. So it's not abdication. We're getting clarity and we're helping people take on accountability for delivery. And I like Dan Martell's model, 10-80-10, which is let's get really clear about specifying what we need up front. Let's put some milestones in place. Let the team do the work that we want them to do. And then let's do the last 10% where we add a ton of value rather than do the bulk of the work where somebody else should be doing it. Let's jump into the last one, which is number 5, your self-awareness and emotional intelligence. I've always been pretty aware of my weaknesses. Look, when I was a sales manager, I found managing pipelines and doing one-to-ones with the sales team just soul destroying, and so I didn't do it enough. But what I did do is I put people in place that would do that for me. I hired a coach because that was the model that we'd had at Glaxo, sales manager and coach. And my coach would manage the sales pipeline for me, which was perfect. So I could get to do the other things, which is to ride along with the sales team and coach them on having better sales calls. And so if your job description and things you love line up beautifully, then that's fantastic. But if they don't, having the awareness or even the courage to say, look, I can't do this. This isn't my thing. And this is where organizations with high degrees of psychological safety at a leadership team level really win, because the sales leader in that scenario needed to have said, look, I'm not great at coming up with a new go-to-market plan. I'm going to need to be in a room with a few others of you so that we can workshop this, so you can come up with a whole load of ideas. We'll have somebody with discernment who can say whether these ideas are any good or not. Then we can have somebody with galvanize who can get excited about the ideas. And then once we've done that, I'll give you a plan and I'll execute it all day long and guarantee it'll be fantastic. Another example in another client, we did some work with the sales management team, and I think there's 5 of them. And we were going through the working genius and then another exercise, which is love and loathe. So you write down all of the things that you do, the tasks that you do day to day that bring you energy and the tasks that suck the life out of you. It's interesting to then share that in the group. Sometimes, particularly if you do it in large teams, you might be able to say, well, the next person we hire, actually we'll get them to do all of this work that nobody seems to like. And actually, that's one of the things that happens at Smart Sourcing. To upgrade a job that stays in Australia, the admin tasks are taken away from everybody. We get somebody in the Philippines to do it. But in this sales management team, 4 of them said, we love to do one-to-ones. We love doing one-to-ones. We love coaching the sales team, but we hate sales reports. And the 5th guy said, I love doing sales reports. I hate one-to-ones. I hate coaching the team. Why don't you be the sales manager that does the reports for everybody, and the 4 of us will assume responsibility for your team. Our teams will get a bit bigger. You do all the reports are better. Everything's better for everybody. And they'd never thought to do that before. It was only because we had an open and honest conversation about what people liked and what they didn't, and we had a framework and a vocabulary for having the conversation to re-engineer it. If you're prepared to be vulnerable, your leadership team will be vulnerable. It is likely we can create an organization with psychological safety where people will say they've made mistakes, and then you can make process changes. Whereas if you don't have psychological safety and you have a blame culture, entropy will kick in and it'll just be hard you won't know why things have just got difficult, and you'll be having multiple system or process failures, and you'll never be able to quite and fix it seamlessly and easily so that you can continue to scale. Let me just recap on the 5 things we've talked about. Look, vision clarity. Can we sum it all up and get it into one word or phrase so that everybody knows what our strategy is? Are you delegating? Can you delegate? Are you still micromanaging? How do we help you stop those 2 things, and so you can free up time really to work on the stuff that only the founder can do? The technical skills development of your team, and actually that's closely linked with the 5th one, which is your self-awareness. Because if you're self-aware enough, if you have the emotional intelligence and the vulnerability to talk about yourself, then it's likely we can have that conversation with the team. And if we can do that, then we can dig into the skills development and we can say, look, where are you now? Where do you need to be? How can we give you feedback? How can we help you develop tools that allow your team to scale and grow so that they don't become an impediment to the growth of the business? Have a look in the bio. The links are there. You can subscribe to the weekly newsletter. Book yourself directly into my diary. You don't have to talk to anybody else. Just put it in the diary. We'll jump on a call and see how I can help.